514 fire protection. 514.1 scope of the section provides the maintenance information structure of the fire protection system. Describes the fire systems that are normally found at the facility. Is not intended for the cover. Specialized apparatus, fire boats, and similar specialized equipment that would associate for the fire department, or to provide detailed firefighting theory practice. At installation large enough to have their own fire department must have the testing and inspection of the compromised fire protection system. Maintenance may be done by the fire department personnel rather than the fuel facility personnel. In any case, with possible on testing, further inspection, firefighting, the system should be carried out under supervision and experience with the firefighter fuel facility personnel. Should still ensure that all fire protection systems shall be adequate maintenance coverage and splitting of responsibilities between the fire department and fuel facilities personnel does not allow all items to escape the maintenance. Many manufacturers contributed to the prevention of the fire. Some such design practices as RBM becomes the scope of this manual. However, the knowledge of elements of combustion at any source of this element provides a large measure of the fire safety and does not maintenance and readiness of the fire suppression system. Reference and detailing of design and operational information of the fire protection in relation to the petroleum facility can be found in Navy Sub P558 and the Fuel Management Ashore Navy Fact DM8 and Fire Protection Engineering. Specific maintenance account actions and fire protection system are covered by the Navy Fact Memo 117, maintenance of the fire protection system, and NFPA 10 portable extinguishers. 514 water-based firefighting system maintenance. 514.21 water-based supply or water supply system assurances the adequate supplies of water must be have in the primary objectives of the fire system maintenance. Some suggestions include effective maintenance programs are in the proper supply of the public and private main and run an annual flow test and establish available flow pressure at the connection or other sources of supply such as ponds and bays and water rivers. Inspecting intakes and obstruction cleanness intakes and screens and strangers operational valves and gates. Starts with the primary pumps and observes and record pressures at full flow. When water supplies complies with the standpipe, the tank test and record levels at 1 each. The continual changes the level indicates the leaks and backflows. Protect all exposed and piping and storage tanks and from freezing weather and not impossible ensuring that the water is continually circulated or that the line is drained. Debris and sediments may be accumulated by the piping and systems can dangerously restriction the volume damages from pressure of the clogged nozzle and during use. Semi-annual flushing in all hydrants highly recommended. If installed, drain lines permanent in water and idle items in piping, pump, casing, and tanks and similar components shall be sampled in contamination. 514.22. Yeah, happy birthday, Beth or Rebecca. 514.2. Fog system nozzle are exposed to the weather and require monthly inspection maintenance to look for the corrosion debris, clogging and deflection of the spray pattern, and apply the light coating and silicone grease to the nozzle. Some heads of the thread are standing of the pipe portable extension containing internal straining accessibility. Once headed and removed and performing similar preservation inspection of the blockage debris and ensure the head of the securely tightened fog system should be set of the annually. The sublocation of some warehouses often cannot be because of the release of water sprinkler system would be cause greatly damage short full scale operation than usually tested connection by the bypass. Such control elements tested by the outsetting off the main test system. Observe the spray pattern when installed and adjusting the pattern of the screw center is actually the fog headed, ensuring the line supplying the fog heads and drain and protected prior to the arrival of the cold weather. 514.23 drainage system around tank farms, otherwise structures. Larger amounts of the firefighting water may be used, inspected, and installed in drainage monthly to ensure the accumulated water floating flammage liquids are not dammed and debris and leaving sand in buildings and materials blockage and drainage access. 514.24 pumps. Most fire pumps in the central figure operate the same principles within the same maintenance procedures that describe section 5.6, and they must be driven electrical motors, internal combustion engines, and steam burst and maintenance recommendation. Electrical motors are covered in section 5.12, and pump maintenance and procedures are basically the same described in petroleum pumps in 5.5. The following list of outlined fire pumps and required special consideration at some installation where they are operated intermittently. Pumps should be turned over to the hand daily, tested, operated weekly during the test, and unavailable discharge to allow the pumps to be operated at near rated capacity for 15 minutes. Operated engine turbine driven until the normal operating temperatures are reached. Verify the condition of the oil sump level at strainers, fuel tanks, storage batteries associated with the equipment prior to and after the operation. During the operation, monitor record discharge pressure, estimated flow rate, relief, operation, oil, fuel, coolant to gauge readings, checking for leaks. Ensure the remote and automatic start devices are operable. Ensure all valves are cycled and reset in normal operation prior to completion of the check. During the cold weather, protects the pumps of the freezing continual circulation water, ensuring the pump rooms are clean, free of the loose material. 51425 hydrant valves and hydrant provided readily access to large volumes of the firefighting water despite various environmental location constraints of fire. Figure 514.1 and illustrates the hydrant design in the cold climates. Recommended maintenance inspection procedures are listed below. Perform a monthly generally inspection to ensure the hydrant, while preserved and tampered with damage or an obstructed vehicle and suspected install and guarded post, and remove nozzle caps to check the condition of the threads. Can uplink clean lubrication will silicone grease when necessary. Open the valve twice each year. The flush the fireman valves should be receive periodically inspection to ensure the proper operation. The correct valve position indicator response. All valves should be cycled each month, and caution taken to be ensured no system to be activated by a firefighting agent accidentally applied, and further guidance of the valve maintenance, troubleshooting, and containment. 5.7 514.26 Corrosion protection. Most underground firemen are cast iron pipes and must be reasonably good with the corrosion resistant to the ordinary soles and the freshwater services mains and the saltwater fire services that are exposed aggressively corrosive soles in the marine environmental and is under or on the pier. Most may be subject to corrosion damage. Protection can be achieved when coating and cathodic protection described in 306 and 307. Interior seal and storage tank standpipes using in the fire water services and are also subject to the corrosion damage, which will be controlled by the interior coatings and cathodic protection. Uncertain conditions and extinguishing agents can be increasing the corrosion problems, especially for the foaming agents of the chemicals. 514.27 in the fire hose. The fire hose is usually constructed with the outer jacket of wooden fabric protection of the inner lining of the rubber. Most hoses, because of natural deterioration during the storage, causes the mildew, ozone exposure to the sun, weathering, and excessive heat. A hose and actually use also is subject to mechanical damage. Handling exposure to the oils, chemical fire damages, and effective program maintenance of the fire houses include the following systems. Whether this is a fire hydrant, weather cap operational nut cover, stuffing box, O-ring, pumper nozzle hose, upper operating stem, upper stand pipe section, breakaway coupling, 2.5-inch hose nozzle, breakaway flange, approximate grade, lower operating lower stand section, seating ring, main valve, and elbow. Frost proof of fire hydrant. Hose should be stored at the covered weather. A tight house should be adequately supported to prevent physical and distortion during storage. The house should have louvers and ventilators to allow the free circulation. The air hose should be thoroughly cleaned and dried, and before being stored in housing jackets, NAS fibers can be treated against the mildew. House jackets may be synthetic fibers and nylon are not subject to the mildew. Houses should be removed and stored once the quarter restored in differentiation position to avoid permanent distortion of the joint. Jacket lining houses should be hydrostatically tested an annual 200 psi held in not less than 5 minutes during the test of examined threads, couplings, signs, damages, movement stencils of the house. The test aid of the pressure housing should be maintained in the sound weather tight of the condition. Wooden and metal sheds should be kept and painted and avoid weathering, rotted, corrosion damage. All houses should be clearly marked and identify their purpose and contents. Maintaining the hinges and latches of the doors in good operation. Keep the ventilators, louvers, and other freak and obstruction inspection monthly to ensure all nozzles, tools, wrenches, and spanners, adapters, and etc. are in place. 514 foam systems. 514.31 chemical foam maintenance of the chemical foam system. Valves, piping equipment such as described in Figure 514.2 should follow the similar components discussed earlier in this chapter. The foam agent should be inspected. The follows inventory the amount of the A and B and the powder in the hand of the broken cans, replacing any cans of the broken, leaking, and badly corroded. Be sure the cans of the storage clearly marked and as segregated between A and B powders on random basis. Open sample about 2% of the cans. Take samples on the top and the bottom of the bulk storage hoppers to inspect the caking of the powder due to the dampness that would prevent it from running free from particular contamination. Here is what we see as in the foam mixing chambers, the foaming solution controlling valves to the foam hydrant, from the foaming solution headers to the foaming solution control valves to the powder hoppers in the powder connection of the powder supply within the water control valves and the water supply, and a foam hose not shown in the flushing valves. Chemical foam storage tanks. It is also recommended that the solution of the piping and flushing the fresh water completely drained after each use of the test 51413 of the mechanical foam following the maintenance actions recommendation mechanical foam concentration chemical quantities in cans and drums and foam tanks once a year, and tank samples of liquid foam concentration and inspection samples excessive sludge and formation of the other deterioration samples can be sent into the supplier's laboratory analysis report of the condition. Take steps and eliminate changes in the storage and temperature of liquid and foam concentration, and liquid foam concentration should be stored in temperatures above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Should be restored for more than 2 months above the 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Regular liquid with concentrate freezes at 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It cannot be also be frozen, carefully thawed, and is affected thereafter cold. And foam freezes at negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and deep cold freezes at negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And aqueous forming foam, AFFF, has approximately same temperature limitations as regular liquidation concentration inspection, all storage concentration connection, pipeline leakage, and corrosion. 51433 foam preparatory system. The quality foam applied for the during fire governing the ability of the preparatory is the corrective measure of the mix of foam connection within the water described in the previous proportion system that might be used to protect a large installation, but no, the separate pump for the liquid of the from the foam concentration of the following maintenance section actions recommendation ensure ability to the proportionate to the produced effective foams inspection proportional once each month, and physical damage, missing parts, and leak corrosions and deterioration. If one system of the liquid concentration pump operates in once of the 3 months, bypassing proportional returning liquidation concentration storage tank every 3 months. Test operate in all valves and cleaning strains. Here what you see is a mechanical foam proportional system, seeing that the one the foam liquidation storage tank, 2 the pressure vacuum vent, 3 the foam connection, 4 the foam liquid returning line, 5 the relief valve, 6 the diaphragm valve, 7 pressure sensing lines, 8 the foam liquid supply line, 9 the foam liquid pump, 10 fire pump, 11 gate valve type, 12 manual bypass valve, 13 pressure gauges, 14 foam proportioner, 15 expansion dome and access opening. Each year the test operating the foam proportional obtaining the sample of the hose station, and the sample is used in a calibrated refractometer to ensure the proper proportional foam concentrate of the water is achieved by the proportion. If not, a proportional nozzle taken. Most inspected every 5 years. Run a full scale foam making test entire system. On chemical systems, inspecting the hoppers every 3 months of the dirt obstruction of similar defects and testing operating vent levers and values. 51434 foam solution piping. The main order of the system is inoperable because of the foam solution piping, the storage piping, the hydrants, full leaks of the interior, so exterior corrosion. My symptoms are often dry pipe of the type of the interior corrosion pipe of the prevented completing flushing it, clean fresh water draining after the use of external corrosion, preventing coatings of cathodic protection as described in MO 306 and MO 307. Annual hydrostatic test of the system of 150 PSIGs and holding 3S. 30 minutes recommendation to locate leaks during the test to disconnect risers from the storage tanks and blank flanges to prevent damage from the tanks to a tank pressure test. Operating clean and lubricating all systems, valves, and hydrant, and as necessary, clean chemical derived powder foam systems that are found in the high have extensive leak should be replaced in mechanical liquid systems when continuous protection is necessary required. 51435 foam makers and foam chambers, and once a year inspection all foam makers and foam chambers to see that there are free obstruction, damage, deterioration, paying particular attention to the air intake screens of foam makers, diaphragms of foam chambers. 5143 portable equipment such as in a house is a nozzle and pickup tubes, liquid and portable cans and hoppers should be stored in sheds and cabinets for houses. Should be inspected for every 3 months using the same inspection procedure used for a water house. 51437, the system markings. All foam system equipment values show are clearly marked and indicated the individual purpose. Every foam pump and should have a diaphragm proportional distribution system. All valves should be marked individual signs indicating their function of the foam tanking. Number 97. 514.4, the portable extinguisher. 514.41, portable extinguisher inspection. Inspection of the fire extinguisher should be carried out on a continual basis. Maximum intervals determine the natural degree of hazards involved. Some operational and fueling aircraft should be not undertaken in the operational until observed and fire extinguisher are in place and ready for the instant use. In other cases, with remote unmanned pump pouches, examples, exemptions of the fire extinguisher may be scheduled on week and monthly basis depending on the circumstances. The inspector should check on the following items. The extinguisher is in an assigned location. Visibility access to the extinguisher are not obstruction seals and tampered and indicators are not broken. And if the question be proceeded and directed in the next section, the pressure gauge is in charge in the safe operation range, and the extinguished cylinder, hose, and nozzle are undamaged in condition. The extinguisher and properly marked as the type of the maintenance tag and is in current 514.42, the portable extinguisher maintenance and scheduled maintenance should be carried out for the discovery of any of the following: inspection deficiency, partially completed discharge, expelling exchanges in the charge of evidence, tamperance, mechanical damage or leaks, exposure, abnormal hot, cold temperatures, corrosive material, atmosphere, and additional routine inspection described above. The scheduled maintenance and recommendation, various types of fire extinguisher intervals prescribed in all cases of that. Extinguishers should be carefully examined, filled, and tested. Experience and repair personnel following procedures should be followed in various types of extinguisher: plain water and antifreeze solution pump type in 1 year of the operable pump empty and extinguisher recharge at pressurized water loaded stream as type 1 once each year. Discharge the contents recharge the pressurized extinguisher compressed with air to not more than pressure rating. The extinguisher hydrostatic tested every 5 years. Soda acid chemical foam type 1 each of the year. Discharge the contents recharge the extinguisher hydrostatic test in each of 5 years. Carbon dioxide 2 every 6 months. Weight of the extinguisher recharge of the weight of loss exceeds the 10% weight of the specified label. Hydrostatic test is every 5 years. Dry chemical replacing the expelling gas discharge testing and leakage, whether any reason for the pressure gauge is below the normal operating gauge range every 5 years. And completely discharge the extinguisher, replacing both expelling the extinguisher charge hydrostatically, testing the extinguisher every 10 years. Halon 1211, assembly maintaining in accordance with the manufacturing instruction on an annual basis and prior to assembly to fully discharge extinguisher chain. Check the operational discharge pressure and system tag on the label extinguisher to indicate the date of maintenance and performing maintenance and recharge accordance with manufacturing instruction. 514.5 miscellaneous extinguisher system. 514.5.1 fixed carbon dioxide flooding system. Fixed carbon dioxide system should be inspected in a manner similar to portable carbon dioxide bottles. Each bottle should be securely mounted on a remote activation trigger attached. The trigger be associated with the activation of the trigger attached. The trigger associated with the evacuation alarm ventilation trap should be tested every 6 months, and following determination of the net worth of the carbon dioxide remaining and temporarily securely, individuals carbon dioxide bottle valves will primarily be checked to be sure to return the valve system to the normal operation once checked has been completed. 514.5.2 dry chemical systems. Powders such as potassium bicarbonate used in dry chemical systems and suspectable moisture absorption caking initially in the damp location every 6 months, and storage cylinders should be open to the inspection. Powder lightly kicks and breaks in the clumps and part of the clean wood and stake of the similar items. If the powder resistant attempts and replace the powder, inspecting the extinguisher of evidence of activation and tampering the powder, enter the hose and check to ensure the hose is unclogged drain of the powder, and check them to see that the gas charge cylinder is sealed with the place of red cord and the inspection attached to the tag. 514.5.3 sand, and the sand is usually containing some smothering small petroleum fires, ensuring the sand usually in stored buckets and is not contaminated and container accessibly secured. 514.5.4 the fire blankets should be intact without holes, cuts, tears, and stored in weather and in resistant, clean, dry marking enclosure for inspected materials condition normal monthly. 514.5.5 steam smothering and especially enclosed in application steam can suffocate a fire. After prominently energizing the system, inspecting the system monthly to ensure that all nozzle are not obstructed and free from corrosion, not worn or mishap, and checking to see that sufficient steam supply is available for the residue consolidated is not accommodating the pump, and leading in the devices, ensuring the operation of the remove activation device of the alarm satisfactory line system up to the proper operation of the conclusion of the maintenance procedure.